vote, and the more people who vote, the better the elected officials are. And that is a deep core belief for me. And as for the services of Avon Township, they provide for the elderly and the needy. And the township is still relevant today as it was when it was created over 100 years ago. I want those services to be kept. I want them to be enhanced not through raising any taxes, but talking to corporations and foundations, getting some grant money. I also want to share one quick story about the service. There's the bus service that the township offers. A couple weekends ago, I knocked on the door. The husband was in a wheelchair and did not even know about the bus service, which was a shame. He'd been in a wheelchair for 11 years. I was with my running mate, Steve Hall. We found out, we got the information, and I didn't care if that person voted for me or not. I did some good, and I hope to do that for all the people of Avon Township.
Thank you, Hal. Okay, those were the opening statements. Now we're going to move into some of the questions I've received up here. And we'll rotate. We'll start with you, Kathy, and then we'll start with me, and then, so we'll rotate around a little bit. As public servants, an important job is showing up to represent the citizens. I want to thank you all for showing up. How will you make sure you are available to serve as elected, and what reasons do you think are acceptable to miss the once-a-month township meetings? So Kathy, we'll start with you if you don't mind.
As a trustee in the township, I would make township my #1 priority. I do serve on other boards. I'm president of Friends. Right now they're having their quarterly meeting and I am here. I think this is a very good example of myself and my teammates. We're here and we plan to always be here for the people of the township. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Jeannie, please.
I think that short of an family emergency, there is nothing that I can think of. Once you're elected by the people, you have an obligation to represent their concerns at every meeting. To be absent is a form of fraud for me. You have to be there and you have to be up and involved in every decision that comes along.
Thanks, Jeannie. Bill, please.
Well, as being around for as long as I have, I think I can count on one hand how many meetings I've missed. I usually go every meeting. I always go in and look at the bills, the paid bills. That's part of the trustee's job. Every month I go in and review the bills. I will admit maybe once in a while I do miss, but I count that on one hand too. So yeah, I believe in township government, always have, and you won't see me absent very often. If I'm either sick or once a year I do get away, and that has been scarce too lately, so I very seldom miss a meeting.
Thanks, Bill. And Hal, please.
I have to agree. There's very little that would be a reason to miss. Obviously, a family emergency. I have a communicable disease. I got the flu. I want to pass it along. That's exactly right. But short of that, you can schedule vacations around the schedule of the township meetings.
Thanks, Hal. Next question, please. In the past 4 years, the township has settled a $450 million lawsuit. Too many zeros. Okay, thanks. $450,000 lawsuit, spent close to, is it $100,000 on legal fees, and still has more litigation in court. What accounts for the legal problems in the past and in the future? Jeannie, please.
I think one of the things that is important with that is the piece about integrity. There are some things that you need to ask yourself. Is this act that I'm doing, this vote, or what I'm doing, does it measure against my heart and having integrity within myself? And I'm not so sure everyone has always asked that question. The accounting of that money is not just the taxpayers within this township. Because we belong to a group that represents all the townships, every resident within that group pays that bill, not just the people that did not perform fired inappropriately. It's every taxpayer. So I think with that, being honest, truthful, and having integrity are key components to making good decisions.
Thanks, Jeannie. Bill, please. Did you answer the same question?
All I gotta say, it's been a long 4 years. Yeah, we had the lawsuit, and that's not part of my problem because I inherited the problem, I guess, but, yeah, we have to look at the integrity of the group. They meant well, I suppose, I guess I'm gonna preach a little bit, yeah, maybe they meant well, but you gotta know how to work with people. And what they did was wrong, and obviously it was wrong. I can't believe the settlement to this day, that settlement the way it was. But that's the way it was, and it did affect the township. So I think what the group of people I'm running with, that's why I'm not running with them, is we got integrity people, and that's what you need in government. I don't care if it's a village or whatever government you're in, library boards, you gotta be integritized. And you gotta stand up what's right and do what's right, and things will turn out right. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Hal, please.
I would have to agree with, most of what they said. The integrity portion, really, if a person doesn't have their integrity, I don't know how they can look at themselves in the mirror every morning. And part of integrity is voicing, and I'm sure that members of the current board have expressed, certain members of the board have expressed to the people who were causing these making these bad decisions, their concerns with those decisions. And I would expect myself and the rest of the board to do the same in any kind of future decisions that would come up.
Thanks, Annie. Kathy, please.
In my 9 years on the library board, legal issues came up, and so I have experience working with lawyers, but and seeking their advice. You need legal advice, but at the township, I do not think we need an attorney who sits right next to the rest of the board members, who is now like a part of the board. We attend meetings, and many things can't be decided unless someone, the attorney, advises them. It's a screen, it's another layer to government that I hope we can get away from. Now, there is upcoming litigation, which Supervisor Rush did bring up. There's more litigation coming. So she did not reveal in another form what the nature of that is, but I would like to share that with you too, that this is not over.
Thank you, Kathy. Next question, please. Part of it is addressed to new members as opposed to incumbents, but I think I'm just going to open it up to everybody since there are only 4 here. What are the key differences you want to make in Avon Township government as a newcomer to the board? And then combined with that is, what new ways of communication would you use to connect with the citizens of the township? So sort of, what do you intend to do in order to be present and out there connecting with people? So let's see, we'll start here with Bill, please. Even though you're an incumbent, Bill, I'm sure you can find some way of answering this one.
Oh, there's always ways to answer that question. I would, for God, I don't know how many years, I'd like to put out a newsletter. Our past highway commissioner put out a newsletter, I think, once quarterly, maybe twice a year, I can't remember, but at least he put out a newsletter. I'd like to see Avon Township do that. We've yet to put out a newsletter. I think we might have put out one, I guess. But I'd like to see at least a quarterly newsletter go out to the township residents and put a little more. We got a website. I would use that totally a lot more. And we have this sign that they put up on our property. I would use that more as an information booth to with the Painesville. We got, I think there's 7 villages, I think. So every village has got something going on. Our district's got things going on. So that's what I would do. I would get out and try to communicate. Communication, that is the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Hal, please.
As I said in my opening statement, I have a very strong passion for the youth of the community. And I would like to reach out to the high schools to enhance voter registration programs at the high schools on a regular basis. There's 3 high schools, the 2 Grace Lake and Round Lake High Schools. Get in there on a lunchtime and sign up the kids who will be eligible to vote. That would be one way. And Bill really kind of stole some of my words. That sign that sits out on Washington Street is so underutilized, where there can be festivals and the services that the township provides. And people drive by that a lot, and you get the website of the township. So those would be the two ways that I would begin with to try to enhance communication with the community.
Thanks, Al. Kathy, please.
Communication is what holds us all together. And it's the newsletter, it's the signage, it's the website, it's reaching out to other organizations, sharing information together. Partnering with the idea of newsletters, I had mentioned, put a survey in and ask people what, within the parameters of township, what they need from us. This two-way dialogue isn't happening, and I want to bring it back. Some other things we've talked about, focus groups, special events. Facebook is nice, but we had a meeting on Monday, and the meeting could have been on that sign. No one, I was knocking on doors on Monday, and people didn't even know the township meeting was. So that sign could be used completely differently.
Thanks, Kathy. And Jeannie, please.
I think one of the things that I'd like to look at is the policies and procedures that the township has in place. Right now, we have a lot of procedures that our township originated on how often someone can come to the food bank, how often they can get support. Those need to be reviewed and analyzed based on the needs of our community. I also believe very strongly in community input, and of course Avon Farm is very united in how they see that. But we need to have some standing committees, and I'd like to see an advisory committee for senior citizens and an advisory committees for high school. I agree with you. I think getting high schools involved in local government is a key to building good citizens. And if we can't do that, if we can't build good citizens by helping them be involved in our community, we're missing something. So advisory committees, which doesn't cost a penny, doesn't cost one red cent. It just costs my time, and I'm devoted to committed to that time.
Thanks, Jeannie. Next question. Hal, you'd be the first to answer. I understand that a new position was created with the title of office administrator for pay around $45,000 yearly. Why can't the supervisor and/or clerk do this job?
I'm not very well prepared to answer that. I'm not, you know what, I have no answer to that, to be honest, and if I could try to bluff my way through, but that would be wrong. I really don't know.
That's a fair response, Hal. Kathy, do you have a response?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. It involves creation of a new office position, I guess, office administrator with pay about $45,000 a year, wondering why the supervisor and/or clerk couldn't do that job.
When I found out that there was an office administrator, I was puzzled because there's talk that salaries were cut, okay? But now, so here's the salary cuts, look over here, and then we don't know, it's not advertised as a position, that person's name isn't on the door, and then somebody else was hired. I'm not crazy about the idea. I think we need a supervisor who will do the job and hopefully save the people the money of that salary.
Thanks, Debbie. Jeannie, please.
This is an area where the trustees actually vote on the budgets. That's their job. And so they either decide to have this position or they don't. To me, it's a lie to the taxpayers. The taxpayers pay, according to statute, a supervisor. It is paid as if it is a full-time job. It deserves to be a full-time job. It should be a full-time job. And with that, if they're doing their full-time job, they don't need an office manager.